He did break, but it was too late. I got hit. I flew off the bike.
Hey, twin, that's my twin. That's my twin. That's my twin.
We just found out we were twins. Isn't that cool?
And I'm your twin brother.
We call this here a little twin and twin.
Twin tapping up a jet ski.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, can I say ladies and gentlemen? It's still. Hi, everyone. Hi. Welcome back to the Thai Twins. You're just going to open up the gummy snacks while we're recording, huh? Let me get some. Let me just get two. I don't know what it is. It's like when he gets these, like if he gets a snack, if it's fruit or whatever, like I feel like I got to. That's a thing. I see him. It is a thing because if we're at my house, I grab a snack, he gonna grab a snack. If I see him grab a snack, it could be a bottle of water. He be like, oh, he got a bottle. I need a bottle of water. I don't know what it is. It's real. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thai Twins Twinning Ain't Easy. In this episode, Tari, what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about family dynamic, how we were raised, the experiences we had growing up with our parents, our brothers, just overall, as children, how it was being twins.
Mm-hmm. So, for most of you that don't know, we're blessed. Mom and Dad are still together. Surprise, they're both crazy because of us. You're welcome. We did that. No, but we don't have any sisters. We have two older brothers. There's a 6-year age gap. So our oldest brother is actually 12 years older than us. And then our second oldest brother is 6 years older than us. So we're all like 6 years, 3 months apart exactly. And then Mom and Dad tried for a girl. And guess what? She won the bonus prize. 2 more boys. 2 for the price of 1. Look at God. We have an interesting family dynamic because we didn't have a sister in the house. So, 4 boys with our mom definitely drove her crazy. She was the mom that was like, okay, well, I'm going to tell your dad. I'm going to call your dad when he's at work. And when your dad comes home, then you're going to have to deal with that. And it was a lot. It was a lot. But
if we were misbehaving at home.
Yeah, I mean, with boys,
it wasn't very often like that, but it's more so. Well, sometimes.
We got a lot of testosterone, a lot of energy and stuff in the house with all the boys. And we were running. My dad was big on like horseplay. Dad would be like, if he heard us scuffling or any loud sounds, that's why even when my kids are here, it's like automatic. I have this built in. When I hear people on the second floor above me making too much noise, I'm like my dad. It's like radar. And, me and Tayari can literally sprint up and down the steps without making a sound. And that was because of our dad. He made us to where we're so like light on our toes walking up and down them stairs. And then sometimes when I hear the kids coming down the stairs, they're walking and like, bump, bump, bump. I'm like, damn, like you're stomping on every step. You don't know how to walk on your tippy toes or, be more quiet. Because we were raising me like you have to kind of keep it, quiet. Otherwise, my dad did not like horse playing. I don't know. What early memories do you have? I know Mom and Dad had help with us. Because when we were born, Todd was 12, Tajim was 6.
Oh, that does give them a little bit of help.
They got a little bit of help. But they were in sports. See, by the time we got older, we weren't in sports when we were kids. Tajim, I think, played football. Todd played football in sports when they were little. By the time they had us, they were too busy with all of us. We were like, we're not signing you guys up for sports. Till you guys we were like junior high school.
Right.
Maybe track.
We didn't really do any recreational sports other than school. In school,
everything was at school. If the school didn't have it,
outside activities.
If the school didn't have it, we weren't in any type of sports or other activities. But Ari was saying earlier how it was almost like Home Alone with our older brother because I don't know the feeling, or we never really talked to Tajim about how he felt being the older brother of 2, but I will tell you this, nobody could tell us apart like our older brother can. Todd is good, and he probably could get us mixed up because he's older, you know what I mean? When we were like 6, he was 18, he moved out and was in the service and all that stuff. So I feel like, Navy more specifically, but I feel like Tajim knows us better than everybody. As far as like, he can tell us apart in the dark, with his eyes closed, by voice, by everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was pretty good. He never really mixed us up at all in any way.
Yeah, he knew us apart better than everybody, or he still does rather. But yeah. Tajim's in Kansas now.
Well, you don't have to.
And Todd is in Baltimore, so we don't really get to see them too frequently. But Tajim comes out here, and he'll bring his son, and the kids will play, and with technology and all the video games, we try to keep it tight knit with the kids and their cousins. So we've been really good with that.
You know, growing up was good. As far as our relationship, we were always really close. We didn't have any issues, you know, when we were really young, arguing or feeling like one was better, or our parents treated us both, you know, equally, pretty much the same for the most part. And even between our brothers too, we had a pretty good upbringing. I mean, with our dose of discipline, because we did get into a lot of things over the years. And we were told, you know, we were well behaved, but we were very mischievous. We would get into a lot of things. So we have a lot of stories to tell of our childhood and just different things that we got into, especially with our middle brother. We get into a lot of stuff with him in the house, you know, fighting, big brothers, you know, bullying, or not going to say bullying, but checking the little brothers like, hey, don't get carried away here and there. We have a lot of childhood stories, so I'll just leave it at that. I don't even know where to start to get into it, but we have so many stories from, I don't know, playing with fire to, you know, letting the neighbor's dog out their yard, and none of the kids could put the dog back in the yard. We have so many we had a lot of good childhood friends too as well that we play with regularly, that we grew up with, that really made it like a wholesome and diverse group of, you know, kids that we grew up with.
You know, growing up in the house, I mean, we used to get mixed up a lot. Even mom and dad, like, they would mix us up, and we hated that confusion.
Yeah.
So we never tried to, like, play pranks on people. We never did. I don't think.
Well, on our parents, I mean,
no, I think in general,
we didn't really play pranks.
They weren't playing. My dad was like, he was already paranoid that I was Tayari when I wasn't. And he was probably, you know what I mean? Like someone who's already mentally thinking that you're trying to play a trick, but you're not. And it's like, you're like, it's me, it's Taid. And he's already looking for that thing. But
it would be more so if he was told that he was mixing this up, and he'd be like, no, I'm not. That's, you know, but no, it wasn't that.
Oh man, could you imagine? You tell one kid that comes downstairs, I told you can't have any of this or that. Then the other one comes down and goes and grabs it. And he's like, didn't I just tell you not to get that, or that you can't have that? And it's like, one of the things that we learned like early, our communication had to be really good. Because if we, oh yeah, dad said we can't have this, dad said, or mom said this, because if we don't communicate with each other, or we plotting, one of the other twin will go down there and do it, and we'll just wait to see how pissed off our parents get, if it'll be enough for them to get like a whooping or something. But we never really dove into that. I'll say the family dynamic. Our Boston family is a big deal. So our mom and dad, our dad's from Boston, but every year with the family reunions, we would leave, and it was standard that we would see our grandparents. And my mom and dad wanted us to know where we come from, who our family is. Even though we didn't see them more than once a year, we have really close and strong ties with a lot of our family in Boston, and some family in Philly, and just sprinkled out throughout the East Coast and South as well. Shout out to all them.
We would have reunions every year. Growing up in California, we'd go back east to wherever our reunion destination or location was. That would be all over the East Coast, from anywhere in Ohio, any of the cities in Ohio, Akron, Cincinnati, Columbus, Boston. We have reunions in New York, Atlanta, New Orleans, Kansas.
I think we had one in Kansas, yeah. We actually hosted one in it was supposed to be 2020. So I wanted to host a reunion. I said, because we're twins, I thought it'd be dope to host a reunion in 2020, right? And then obviously COVID happened, so we had to scrap that. We ended up hosting the reunion in 2021, and actually turned out really well. Probably one of the better reunions that we've had, as far as like the intimacy and the quality of time that we spent with family was very important to me. And we actually got in a state where we all stayed at. And we were in Vegas, so we had some family that were at hotels, but everybody got together, and it was like probably one of my most like cherished moments, going to a reunion and even being a part of putting one together. Having my family and the support system where everybody in the family, mom, dad, Ari especially, and my brothers helped, where we were able to put something together that was just was something that I hold close to my heart. It was beautiful. It was very rewarding, And there's nothing I would change. If I could do it over, I would do it again. To be honest, but my wife would be like, "You're not hosting another reunion because it is time consuming and it does take a lot out of you." We plan on going to a family reunion this year. We're having it in Carrollton, Georgia.
Oh, Carrollton. Okay.
Carrollton, Georgia. I'll be staying out there with my cousin. Shout out to Tim and Tori. Thank you guys for having us. We'll be staying with them during the reunion. And I'm trying to think. We're excited. We got some cousins that we might do an interview with while we're there, because we have a couple pairs of twin cousins. They're in Ohio, but if we're lucky, if they come down, we'll be able to interview them.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a really good twin cousin interview. You guys will love it.
What's your happiest childhood moment? And I would actually also ask you, what's your most traumatic childhood moment? I'll just say before the age of 10. If you go beyond that, it's fine. But like, I want to know what happened to you as a child that gave you a moment of possibly like, oh wow, this happens like that, or some experience that you have, good and bad, if you can think.
Oh man, So you're asking most traumatic?
Yeah, because you talk a lot. So I thought maybe you could come up with something if you really think about it.
I hadn't really thought about it. But Ari, you asked me about my traumatic experience.
I hope it's recorded.
It is. I think we had. I don't know.
You don't have any. That's
I don't
interesting.
I don't have a lot. Me and Tari are like very positive thinkers. I don't think we look at a lot of things in a negative way.
Well, it doesn't have to be negative.
Traumatic, man. I remember one time we were at the pool and we were swimming.
You weren't paying attention to that.
I remember Karen was messing around and stood on me while I was kind of swimming in the bottom of the pool. Okay. And she stood on me. And she wasn't moving. And I literally panicked. All the air bubbles came up, and I was like, "Oh shoot, I really can't get out of this."
You panicked.
Shout out to our childhood homies. I don't really have too many like traumatic that I could think of.
Oh, interesting.
Nothing that really. You know what's crazy? Well, I would say this, Tyari. You tell me what yours was. I think I know what you're gonna say.
Well, that's the most traumatic thing that's ever.
And
happened.
I wasn't finished. Tell them what it is. Tell them what it is. This is so weird.
It's funny to ask you about your traumatic experiences, and you can't think of anything.
Right. Maybe it will come to mind.
I could think of a lot of things that happened to him traumatic as kids. I'll give it 2, but I don't want to talk about it because then he's gonna just
go. I'll take it. I'll take what I can from it. I'll keep it short. Let's go.
One is we used to ride our bikes a lot. We used to set up a lot of ramps and jump over things. And I remember one time in particular, and we might have been 10 or 11 maybe-ish, but my brother had this weird thought process that he could do things that weren't really reasonable and they weren't safe. So for some reason, we had these milk crates, these plastic milk crates. We used to put large pieces of wood and ride over and do ramps and all this. But one particular time, we were in this parking lot across the street from where we lived. It was a big parking lot. We had our friends. We were riding bikes. We had ramps set up. And my brother, for some reason, thought he was Evel Knievel, black. And he decided to try to go over a ramp with the milk carton the vertical way, the longer way. Not on the shorter side, but the long way. So the ramp that we used, a piece of wood, was a piece of particle board, plywood, whatever. It wasn't very long. So putting the crates up to that angle or that level would angle the boards kind of high. Yeah. So he still looked at it. He observed it. For some reason, he thought he still can go over it with the ramp. He was wrong. He was very wrong. But anyways, to me, that wasn't a traumatic experience for him because he hurt himself pretty good. He didn't break anything, but he should have. He definitely should have broken something. He should have broken a lot of things. But he proceeded, he observed the ramp. He proceeded to, walk his bike back. And then he's like, okay, I'm just with the regular bike. And he went full speed, probably between 15 to 20 miles per hour. And he hit the wood and it snapped in half when the back tire, the first wheel went up. Or if it did the first wheel break it?
I feel like the first wheel did go.
The first wheel made it up, pretty good. But the back tire snapped. The back tire hit the wood, snapped. The bike flies in the air. He flies in the air. He falls. The bike almost fell on him if it didn't fall on him.
It probably fell on me, but
Well, anyways, but it was a bad idea. It's almost like crashing just to crash. No helmet, no knee pads, no protection, nothing. Just raw, So I think that was a traumatic experience. If I could
think
say
it was
so.
traumatic for you because you saw it. It wasn't true.
Well, it probably didn't
you
feel,
asked me.
but you did get still hurt. And
I
it
did.
also,
I got scraped up, but I wasn't looking at it like traumatic. I just
well,
felt
anyways, that's one
like
thing.
boys will be boys.
I mean,
and we were-
I guess
we were
it can't be
playing.
traumatic, but the last thing I'll say when I say traumatic, I guess you would have to figure out what's traumatic to you. But also when you got hit in the eye
Yeah,
with
that
a
was-
baseball
that was, I
bat,
guess.
that was pretty traumatic because,
That
I mean,
was
who
actually-
knew someone can get hit that hard in the face with a baseball bat, go inside for 5 minutes, and come back out and be good with a big ass knot. So, and my dad didn't take us to the hospital.
Oh
so.
no, we didn't. And I should have probably got examined for a concussion. My eye turned green and purple. I'll never forget that. So
It's probably
just
still
for
messed up.
context, we had those little. Remember back in the day, those little variety packs of the Cheetos, Fritos, and Lay's. They were like these Cheetos paws. They were shaped like a paw. And Tyari's pitching them to our older friend, neighbor Christian, who's really our older brother's friend because they're closer to the same age. And Ari's pitching these Cheeto Puff chips to him, and he has a wooden Louisville or whatever type of wooden bat all the way down to the core. He's swinging at him. And his follow through, I kind of was lingering, not paying attention, and he swung it. And this is like a teenager. We're talking like 15, 16 years old, and he's swinging it. And I'm like maybe 9 or 10, and he swings the bat, follow through, pop, just got me. I hit the ground. I could feel it, like I could hear the bone and go when it hit my eye, but just missed the socket and kind of got me right along the bone of my cheekbone. I went inside and had so much swelling. I literally ran inside, kind of yelling, screaming. I fell to the ground. That was probably, now that I'm thinking about it, as far as my reaction, because normally you get hurt, you be like, oh yeah, it hurt. But you know, when the little kid, you be like, they get hurt and they look down and they see blood, they're fine. They fall down, they look and they see blood, and it was one of those. And I ran inside screaming, dropped right on the carpet. As soon as I ran in the house, they gave me like a pack of peas or mixed veggies that I put on the side of my face. After like 5-10 minutes, I looked in the mirror. I seen purple and green all on my eye and on my cheekbone. And yeah, that was probably it. You're right. I wasn't thinking in those terms. I was thinking more like psychological.
Oh,
maybe.
that's
I
a
don't know.
little bit deep. That's for another time, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean,
What
we
about
wanna get
you?
into it.
So what do you think your most traumatic
Mine
experience
was just getting hit by a car, not paying attention on a holiday weekend on my cousin's bike. That
Was it Labor Day?
too big. I don't remember what.
It was
holiday.
one
I
of them
was a
Labor
kid.
Day,
It was,
Memorial
we were
Day.
barbecuing.
Yeah.
And my aunt Audrey's, rest in peace.
Rest in peace to Aunt
My
Audrey.
Aunt Audrey at Papa Jim. We always
And
used to go
Papa
to their
Jim.
house.
Oh yeah.
They're really good,
God
close
bless 'em.
family friends to my mom and dad. But we spent a lot of holidays at their house barbecuing. They always had a good time. And we went over there, and I just remember I was riding my big cousin's bike. It was too big for me. It was like you see a little kid jump on a bike that's too big for them, and they can't even touch the ground while they're riding it. That's low key how big it was. So I'm riding his bike, and I was able to ride a bike pretty good. So I'm riding on the curb, and I look down the street before I cut through someone's driveway to dart into the street. But before I did look down the street, and there was a car way down. And this is a residential street, so I'm thinking, okay. And for some reason or another, I totally either forgot about that car or didn't think. I mean, I thought it was a quiet street. There were no cars. So as soon as I dipped off the sidewalk, down someone's driveway into the street, I went straight across the car. It was perfect timing for anyone who's driving, either not paying attention or not quite having enough time to react. He did brake, but it was too late. I got hit. I flew off the bike, and I was so out of it. I passed out. I tried to get up and walk away, but I passed out on the sidewalk. I made it to the other sidewalk walking after getting hit, and then I was so in shock from getting hit. I passed out and collapsed, and I just remember waking up in my aunt's Suburban in her truck. And I felt protected and safe, and I was so happy to be there because I didn't know what happened. I had never passed out, as far as I know. I've never passed out before. I never experienced anything like that. I didn't have a broken bone. I did not have a scratch on me. They didn't have to take me to the hospital. I was checked. All my vitals and everything were good. Nothing was broken or swollen. And then, and that was the most traumatic experience for me. And I think I was about 7 or 8 years old. So that was the most traumatic experience for me, especially understanding that someone was looking out for me, someone was protecting me. And that is the first experience I ever had as a child to understand why nothing more happened to me and why I was protected in the way that I was for the accident that I saw, because the bike was broken. The pedals, some of the metal and the pedal the bike was done. It was trash. After that, it couldn't be driven, the pedals, and something else on the bike broke on impact. So, but anyways, I'll say that was the most traumatic experience for me. And really, to be honest, the rest of that day, my parents made me lay and rest. They didn't want me playing with the other kids. They didn't want me doing anything. And all I could think about is what had happened to me and how, again, I was in one piece and I wasn't hurt. I didn't have a concussion. I had nothing. I was just in shock from the initial hit. So yeah, that was probably be the most traumatic for me.
I think that whole thing with him getting hit by a car, a lot of people will be surprised, but we were not together. Ari was riding our cousin. Shout out to Ronnie. He was riding Ronnie's bike, Ronnie was our bigger cousin. He's close to our age, but he was bigger. And his bike was probably too big for Tayari to be riding in the first place. But I was inside the house. And I remember it was so far down the street. All I could see was like fire trucks, but I wasn't close enough to really see much. All the adults left the house and told me, I'm like 9, 8 years old. They're like, you stay here and watch the house. What? I'm 8 years old. What am I do? Watch the house. Somebody tried to break in here. The garage is open. Everybody ran and left and went down the street to check on him. I have no visible memory of seeing him wrapped up in a blanket, seeing no fire department or firemen checking on him, checking his vitals. None of the experience that he had, I wasn't present for it. I don't remember how I felt. I just remember somebody said, Tara got hit by a car. And now that I'm really processing this and I'm really thinking about it, I want to thank my mom and dad. I want to thank Aunt Audrey, Papa Jim, rest in peace, because they knew what I didn't know. And Bonnie or someone came in that house and told everybody Tayari got hit by a car. I want you guys to think about this, twins.
Or the neighbors did.
Or the neighbors.
Or someone.
They knew that he got hit by a car. They didn't know how severe it was. And I think it was very important that we keep I'm just at 39, I'm processing all of this. They knew that I could not be there to see my brother. God forbid. Shit.
Well, that's true.
I think they knew that if I was to go over there and see something happen to my brother that was, irreparable or something I couldn't unsee, I'm thinking about it now. They told me to stay and watch the house when I was 9 years old or 8 years old. And I'm just like, I was the only one who stayed. And I'm thinking about it now. Like they didn't know how bad it was, but they knew what it was that happened. They didn't want me to see it. So everybody made sure I stayed at the house. They literally left me at the house in the garage by myself with it open. I'm looking down the street trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm realizing that. And I want to thank, Granny, that's what we call our Aunt Audrey, Granny, for that. And, I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our brother that we lost, not paternal, but like, a good family friend, part of the Santa May crew, Andre, who just passed recently. And, he was our brother too. So, sheesh, I don't like getting emotional, but sometimes this stuff just come over me because you don't know when you're a child, sometimes things happen and you don't know why you're being protected from one thing or another. But, Angie, Armani, shout out to you guys. Always love and support, and just the whole family. We want to thank you guys for all the support and loving us. And that's crazy that Ari just brought that up because I'm thinking about it. Like they left me at the house and told me, I'll never forget. Granny walked away. Aunt Audrey walked away. She said, you stay right here. Stay here and watch the house. And I was trying to feel like, I'm 8. Like, what am I going to do? Watch the house? Like, but now I'm thinking about it. When I process it all, I can see what they were trying to do. because they didn't want me to see. God forbid if something
Yeah, I never thought
had
about
happened.
that. I never thought.
Yeah,
about
man. I was the only one. We had a house full of people. I was the only one they told, do not leave this garage. You stay right here. So I think maybe they knew something as adults that we obviously were too young to process, you know. But yeah, so we're 1 for 1 on that. I got knocked out or passed out too, but mine was a little bit different. But we don't have to talk about all that. But maybe in a later episode. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if you guys have any other family dynamic stuff you guys want us to talk about. Maybe in another video we'll be sure to talk about it. I don't know how long this video was. We kind of wanted to get into a little bit more stuff, but our camera kind of cut off. So we'll chop it up, see what we got here. But before we leave,
yeah, we didn't really get into too many stories of childhood.
Yeah, I mean,
all the stuff that we did. But I mean, I guess I don't know.
We can always bring stuff up in later videos. I mean, anything you want to bring up real quick? Mom and Dad used to match us in clothes, and that was cool until we were old enough. But I will say this: I liked when we got to pick the same outfit but different colors. That's kind of, I'm like, if we're gonna wear the same outfit, at least let me pick the color I like, or let him, you know what I mean? So that we're not over here matched up all the way from top to bottom. So, you know, I thought that was cool when we kind of got to dress. And obviously you see now we don't dress the same unless it's on, and the only time we dress the same is on accident. Okay. I don't know. When we were kids, I hated when people asked us questions. I used to get a little frustrated with that. People would ask us goofy stuff like, do y'all have the same name and stuff like that? And like I said, I left it in a clip in a reel. You guys, if you check it out, where my mom, you know, she sat me down and she's, look, you guys got to be like understanding. Like sometimes when people see you, you are the first set of twins that they met or seen in person. So maybe they never seen twins before. So if they ask you something, you know, just be open-minded, be kind, and you know, don't get frustrated. Don't let it bother you. You know. So that's something that really resonated with me growing up.
Why add that again?
I don't know, because
you already said.
I mean, I could use it if I want again, or it was in a reel. I didn't put it in the episode, but you know,
okay,
whatever.
I see.
Yeah. How do you want to close it out with anything? No. Any good times that you had being a twin?
Yeah, our childhood was fun. We had a good childhood.
Had a good
as far as everything we did.
We did it all. I'm sorry. Her childhood was good. You can finish.
We traveled a lot as kids. We would go back east a lot every year. We go to Vegas a lot as kids. Circus, any water parks and stuff that were up, casinos and whatnot that were up, that were still built when we were children. They're gone now, but that Old Town Vegas, and just our experience as kids traveling with our parents and our grandmother at the same time.
Oh yeah, Grandma was always.
Yeah, we had a good childhood experience, just being able to travel with them and spending a lot of time with our parents. You know, a lot of quality time with our parents and our grandmother and each other. So we have a lot of good memories. Yeah,
I think we had a lot of good times. I feel like our childhood was a lot like Sandlot with Junior. And
you're talking about at home. Yes, we had a good diversity.
Man, we used to play Cops and Robbers. We were like the only, obviously in our neighborhood, we were like the only black family within the whole like block. But you know, we got a lot of love and grew up around a lot of the.
There was another
Latino or Hispanic culture,
but they're more South American, and then also we met some other people there, black, but they didn't have any children.
So we grew up around it. Like our friends would have, you know, birthdays, quinceañeras, the whole thing. So we were in it, you know, and you know, we always got love, you know, even though we're obviously, you know, a little different than some, but we always got love from everybody, and we had a lot of friends. But we would just play Cops and Robbers, baseball. We always had that extra person.
We even had another set of twins.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Alex.
Yeah, we
Alex and Juan. Hey, one of I don't know which one it was. I think it was Alex. I don't know. One of them is no longer with us.
You have to verify that.
Yeah, I want to double check. But shout out to our childhood friends, Alex, Juan, and Karina. Shout out to the family. They always showed us love. And little Junior.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, all our friends, but yeah.
Yeah, Keith, Paul, Joshua, Marco, Chris, all those people.
Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo. Mm-hmm.
Hugo. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for this one as far as the family dynamic. We'll jump into some more stuff in a later episode. You guys have any fun questions or interesting comments, feel free to leave, like, and subscribe. I think that's it. What do you say? All right. You want to start it off?
Nope, that's it.
All right.
I think that wraps it up for today's episode.
This is Ty Twins.
Twinning ain't easy.
God bless, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Hey, twin. That's my twin. That's my twin. That's my twin.
We just found out we were twins. Isn't that cool?
And I'm your twin brother.
We call this here a little twin.
Twin, tapping up a jet ski.